A big hello to the Expand and Chronicle Chamber team. Duncan Munroe here, just sharing with you some of the highlights from the most recent weekend with Supernova in Sydney and the LFMBEC number 32 dinner that was conducted. For those who came in late, and for those of you who are suffering from FOMO, or fear of missing out, spelt with the obligatory PH for obvious reasons, I just want to give you a quick recap of the weekend, basically covering the gallery exhibition for the Phantom PNG Warshields, the Supernova event itself over the weekend, and the Lee Falk Memorial Bengali Explorers Club dinner, number 32, and just give you some quick highlights from that. So at the Michael Reid Gallery near Central Station there in Sydney, Chris Boyle has spent 40 years travelling to PNG, studying the local population, local culture, and in particular studying and collecting the iconography of the Phantom amongst the locals, including on the Phantom warshields carried by the tribal warriors of the Waigi Valley, and illustrated by some notable artists among the local population. He's produced a book all about his collection and about his work there, called The Man Who Cannot Die. It's a fantastic, very thick volume, very beautifully presented and really high quality publishing. It's got an introduction by some notable historians, including people knowledgeable about the Phantom as well as local history in PNG. And of the 200 or so Phantom shields that Chris believes are in existence, he's managed to document about 80% of them in this fantastic book. And some of them, about 20 of them, are currently on display at the Michael Reid Gallery in Sydney until the 24th of June. So for those of you who have the ability to attend, it would be fantastic to check out. And the shields that are in the exhibition are for sale at an appropriately affluent price tag, which is all available on the Michael Reid website, including a PDF of the catalogue if you're unable to attend. It's the next best thing to being there. But for those of you who are able in the neighbourhood before the end of the month, it's well worth checking out. The book there was written by Chris Boyle, which I'll get on to shortly because it links to the dinner. The Supernova weekend itself was only 2 days, not 2.5 days as it usually is for the Sydney Supernova. There was no fruit booth, as most of your fans would be aware, but Phantom perennial favourites Jamie Johnson, who's a well-known cover artist, Alex Tripchevsky, who's one of the newer Phantom artists, Camillo, who's also done some great Phantom cover art for us as well, and Julie Dietrich is one of the most recent additions to the Fru Phantom stable of riders. We're all present with stands there. So there were also some fans amongst the crowd that weren't present at the dinner, and so it was great to get the opportunity to still reunite with those people and check in with Phantom fans when there's been such a gap between Supernovas in Sydney and the LFMBEC. So a more subdued activity than what most of your fans who've been to Sydney Supernova would have experienced in the past, and probably more like the crowd levels it was around about 5 or 6 years ago. And for obvious reasons, mostly influenced by the COVID situation in Sydney and the lack of international guests. Just quickly, Alex had those at his table for signing, one of the more popular covers that he's done recently. And he had this great print that was available there. And you can probably get that through Alex through his socials if you're still chasing one and suffering from that FOMO. Or it's likely to be at his next appearance as well. It's a really high quality print, really well done. What was a shame is that even with the absence of Fru having a booth, that the known Fru creators didn't have much in the way of Fru product that they produced to offer to fans, which would have been a nice touch if they had some items to sign. It was something worth considering in the future. The dinner itself was number 32 in the Lee Falk Memorial Bengali Explorers Club dinners. For those of you who aren't aware of the dinners or would like some more information or have been to them and would like to reminisce, the LFMBEC website is up and running. It has been reinvigorated, and I'm sure the photos from this weekend will be up there shortly. But it's also worth checking out there if you haven't been to the dinners for a while or you're interested in them and never been to them before, to make contact with the organisers and get the details for attending next time the dinner's on. There's probably about 40 people at the dinner, 40 guests at the dinner, which is a lot less than previous years from my experience. It was at the same venue at City Tattersalls, but it was in a different room that was much bigger, more spaced out. It was a great venue for the activity that it was, and would be really suitable for future dinners there if that room's available. Great atmosphere and lots of room to get up and move around and talk to people as well as enjoy a meal. And it was a very entertaining evening. The guest was Chris Boyle, who had written this book, which was also one of the auction items that was there. He gave a great, concise and detailed presentation on his 40 years of travelling to PNG and studying the local culture, and he's collecting the shields. The backstory behind the gallery presentation that's there at Michael Reid, and brought a sample shield for everyone to have a closer look at and take photos with during the dinner, which was a great thing to see. His presentation was fantastic, and I've always been curious about that history behind the Phantom Shields and its connection with the people there in PNG, and it was a great summary and a real teaser for getting that book and checking it out further. I've given some material to the Chronicle Chamber guys, so hopefully they can share that and give a bit more detail than what I've provided there. The auction itself was fantastic. With Richard had done a great job putting the dinner together. Obviously, for numerous reasons, mostly COVID related, there were a lot of people who were planning to go and weren't able to. Including Anthony DiDio, who has another job besides being a fantastic auctioneer, and was removed from the list at the last minute, and Bradley and Joyful Peach, who'd done a fantastic job preparing the material, including this great catalogue, and they did an 8-hour return drive just to make sure that everyone at the dinner had this catalogue in their hot little hands, and the placemats and all those table settings that everyone has come to know and love. This catalogue is probably one of the best ones I've ever seen in terms of quality and the way it's been put together. Got an introduction there about where the money goes from the dinner, which is a fantastic cause at the Westmead Children's Hospital. And on this other page here, you'll see one of the hottest items for the evening was a fantastic sundae offered by Jeff Weigel, who's the Sunday artist for King Features, and it was from a first Sunday page from a story that he did, which featured a reference to George Bass. So it had a real Australian theme, and the boys will give a better photo somewhere on their website or on their socials, but it's got Phantom in every panel, beautifully presented with a lot of Indigenous iconography and Australian animals, including kangaroo and koala, and some changes to the Phantom costume that Jeff's been experimenting with, which has been quite popular amongst the fans, and obviously all of Jeff's prep work, like his work in progress updates with his initial sketches and thumbnails and the layouts first, and then final colour printing and how it came out in the paper. But the item of the night for the person that got that was a really fantastic piece. It also had in the catalogue a great image of some well-known Phantom fans who weren't able to be there, but have Phantom shields in their collection, and it was a shame that those members weren't able to be present at the dinner, because it would have been a little bit of an addition to the great discussions that we had about those shields. Obviously, Cy Barry, Antonio Lemos, Shane Foley donated, and Kieran Jack donated some fantastic art. There was some Phantom jewellery donated by Kelby Woodridge and Kane Loritan. Some of the usual kind of items that we would expect, some fantastic generous donations by people who themselves weren't able to make it to the dinner but made sure that their auction items made it. And this fantastic statue down here of Julie Walker, made by the amazingly talented Charlie Curtis from the US, was a very hotly contested item until it was revealed that one of the people bidding on it was also one of the youngest people present at the dinner. And it was really heartwarming to see that that young lady had discovered the Phantom through Kid Phantom, and she then transitioned across to reading the regular Phantom stories, and through that had discovered Julie Walker and developed an affinity for her, and so was hungrily chasing any stories to do with Julie Walker, and the whole room agreed that statue just had to be in her collection. And it was fantastic to see a young fan it taking away something, such a great memento for what was a great evening. The one thing I'll say about the dinner was, because of COVID and a few reasons, there were a lot less people there than we would have expected, and there were a lot of people who we were planning to come who were unable to at the last minute. And the dinner was incomplete without those members there. So while it was a great night that was had by the people that were there, the people who weren't haven't really missed out. The loss from that, their lack of attendance, is experienced by the people who were there, because the experience, while enjoyable, would have been much more so if those people who were absent would have been able to attend. And so that absence was felt by the group, and that was probably the only downside of the night, is that we couldn't have all of the fan and friends present that the room would have liked to have there. So that's my wrap up of the Michael Reid Gallery presentation of Phantom Warshields, Supernova weekend at Sydney, and the 32nd Lee Falk Memorial Bengali Explorers Club dinner. If you want to know more details about it, check out the LFMBEC website once these photos go up, and to see what happened at this one. And if you're interested in attending or haven't attended for a while, check out that website as well and make contact with Richard and the team through the Contact Us section of that website, because it'd be fantastic to see you there in the future. Otherwise, happy Phantoming.